Okay, Nathan, ready? We're gonna open the Tuesday, June 4th, Columbia City Board of Zoning Appeals regular meeting. Roll call, please.
Stacey Dumbacher. Here. Cathy Gardner. John Kissinger.
Here.
Anthony Romano.
Here.
Dennis Warnick.
Here. All right, we have the consideration adoption of the previous meeting minutes. That is, we didn't see those yet, so we're gonna move on to administration and the oath to witnesses. So if you're planning on speaking tonight, either for or against, please stand and Dawn will swear you in.
Even if you think you might have a comment or question, you'll still need to be sworn in. So there's some people in the audience. If you think you might say something, just get sworn in as a group. Do you solemnly swear that any information you give this board this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any old business to discuss tonight?
Despite what I put on the slide, that's actually new business. So.
So no.
No.
Okay.
I just realized that I misplaced that.
All right, we're moving forward to new business. We have 24-C-SE-2. Legend Recovery Center LLC requests approval for a special exception for a behavioral health facility as an alcohol and drug abuse treatment center. Proposed to be located at 235 Frontage Road. Subject property is 2.25 acres, located on the south side of Frontage Road, 515 feet west of North Main Street, in Zone GB, General Business District. Nathan, you want to fill us in on staff report?
Sure thing, thank you. So this is 235 Frontage Road. Currently the Super 8 hotel, and accessory parking, just over 2 acres in size. What is before you and why we're here tonight is a special exception request for a quote-unquote alcohol and drug abuse treatment center. That is what is defined in the zoning code. It's not exactly what they're calling it. Petitioner has said that it's a behavioral health facility, but the actual specific use gets to what the zoning code would term an alcohol and drug abuse treatment center. So that's where they come from. This would be, as best as I can tell, it's a special exception in the same vein as, say, multifamily or apartments or halfway houses are, because it's quasi-residential in nature, as opposed to, say, a hospital where you wouldn't necessarily have people living there long-term. You may not have people coming and going. So I think that might be why it is treated as a special exception, being more akin to that. Might be other reasons, but that's the best I can kind of understand why these are kind of being pulled out as opposed to other types of commercial uses. What is being proposed is to remodel the existing hotel for use as that behavioral health facility, which would be a long-term stay facility dedicated to addiction treatment. Little to no external changes are proposed. Most of the remodeling would be internal, and even that would be relatively minimal because a hotel lends itself to what their use is. I'm sure there would be some common areas that have to be generated and stuff that aren't existing in the hotel, but it's been many, many years since I've been in there. I could be wrong about exactly what that looks like. So grand total of up to 100 patients and 25 staff at maximum capacity. I'm not sure exactly how long it may take to reach that maximum capacity, but that is what they submitted as being the maximum. Again, because of the proposed little amount of changes involved, there really aren't that many other details. So going to reference materials here. So outlined in blue is the site for reference. Of course, you've got Frontage Road there on the north side of the blue box, US 30 along the south side, Main Street, State Road 9, and Line Street, State Road 109 on the flanking sides. The nearest residential is on the north side of the commercial lots on the north side of Frontage Road. So it's in close proximity, but not direct access. You would have to go out to 109 and up and over to get into that area. So definitely a commercial area. Closer view for a little bit of reference. As I talk about in the written staff report, one of the biggest things about this is the current parking situation is somewhat deficient, not in number. Numbers are fine, but the actual sizes of spaces are a bit short. Easily correctable because the aisle width is actually pretty wide. So next time they're restriped, they just need to be restriped bigger. The number of spaces for this use, the paved spaces actually exceed what the zoning code would require. So I am recommending that the currently legal non-conforming gravel gravel parking lot, primarily for the truck parking there on the western half of the lot, be removed as part of this. There's no reason to have it, and that would actually bring the parking, that and restriping would bring the parking into compliant current parking code. Also would clean up that western half of the lot quite a bit for aesthetics and for presumably for the use of the proposed treatment center as well. Kind of speaking off the cuff a little bit, you can also see that this site is about twice as large as the other lots in the area. With that parking no longer being needed for truck parking because it's not a hotel, that western half may actually be suitable for future development as another commercial outlot. Doing so would require split and platting and so on, but it just was something that kind of come up as we discussed what that space could be used for. So just tossing that out there. You can also see there on the aerial, there is some landscaping. That landscaping is again grandfathered in terms of what is required for parking lot landscaping. Not really making a huge recommendation for too much more, but some more landscaping might be appropriate. There's a lot near the building, but some along the frontage of the parking along the S30 might be appropriate. So really won't go into terribly much more about the written staff report. Because again, there aren't that many changes. A lot of what we have is conforming the way it is, some legal non-conforming as I mentioned. So going into my suggested conditions and recommendations, number one is granted generally as presented. So of course, anything that's talked about tonight, if this is approved, would be included. Number two being the standard condition regarding any dumpsters on site. There is a dumpster on site right now, which is mostly enclosed. That would just need to be continued. Number three, again, standard condition that any exterior lighting would be oriented to prevent excessive light spillage and glare onto the adjacent rights of way. For signage, if any, would conform with sign code requirements, and notably for the petitioner's sake, if there's a second freestanding sign that would be proposed along Frontage Road, for example, that would require variance. You guys know that. That's for his benefit. 5 and 6 are the new ones, and I've already mentioned what they are. That the gravel parking areas be removed because they would get in excess with this use, and then 6, that the striping be made in compliance. Just a general recommendation about landscaping. I don't feel strongly enough to really even suggest that as a condition. If you wanted to discuss it, you could. So that's the summary of the staff report. The mayor was not able to be here tonight, but he did submit to us for your benefit a comment letter. So you do have that. Generally speaking, He's got some questions. Hopefully you've had a chance to kind of read more what they are. He requests a continuance in order to speak directly with petitioner and address some things. I will say some of what he's concerned with aren't BZA issues, aren't really land use issues, and concerns in both positive things and negative things. It's not all negative. I don't want to say concerns as a negative connotation. So, but again, it's still your decision what you want to do tonight. Maybe everything will be addressed. But again, he's requesting continuance with that letter. So, with that, any questions for me?
So item number 5, so you're saying when you say remove the parking area, the gravel parking, would that be, you're suggesting you put back to sod and grass? Or what would, I guess when you say remove, definition of that?
Well, that's a good question. When you remove the gravel, there's going to be something there, and I would hope it's not just dirt. But going back to my point, I guess, it could be removed in favor of the development lot, so something else can be built there. That could be a possibility. So yeah, there might be multiple solutions, but my intent was, yeah, to make it yard area, that would be the simplest.
Okay.
So are you saying the gravel parking lot and the drive off of the road? Because that's gravel too, isn't it?
No, it's paved. As far as I know, it's paved.
I don't think so.
I was thinking it was paved with just tons of gravel on top of it.
It looks
from
paved.
fill.
It might be, but it's awful stony.
Well, we'll let
I need to
petitioner.
research.
Yeah, so the intent is not to remove, so to clarify, my intent was not to remove that
Any
drive,
asphalt, okay.
but just the parking area. So the actual
Okay.
drive area, which I was under the impression and understanding is paved, just under all that gravel, would remain.
So I understand. You're talking about just the gravel where the truck's parked back there and not straight across from the parking lot, that gravel would stay. To get to that drive?
Definitely where the truck parking is on the north side of the aisle, and I believe there's also gravel there, and you can just barely see it. And this is going to be hard for me. Wait, I can do it over here. So basically this area, there. So basically that
Right.
area is obvious,
Mm-hmm.
and then this area here.
Okay.
And the area in between, let me get a different color. So basically, it's my understanding that all of that is paved, just under gravel. So if I'm wrong about that,
You might be right.
it would still stay gravel, but it would be the access lane. So that's my recommendation.
All right, anybody else have any questions for Nathan? All right, well, the petitioner, please step to the podium, give a name and address, and kind of fill us in on your full intents.
Josh Koenig, 7649 London Lane, Boca Raton, Florida. So I'm the founder of Legends Recovery Center. We are inpatient, outpatient. We have every level of care. We go from detox into residential. A lot of companies, after they do residential, they go home. We offer actually free living units for them to live and go to outside food therapy for 6 months free. They don't pay for anything. So this way they're 6 months sober before they go home, and hopefully they stay clean. So we are interested in looking at the Super 8 hotel, and we're here to answer any questions that anyone may have regarding concerns, which is understandably, when they hear addiction center, law and order comes up, things come up, and ideas, and it's really not as scary as people make it sound like. But we're here to answer anything that anyone has. Right? Anything else?
With your residents have their vehicle there while they're in there?
No, they are all Ubered in, or our own company vans will pick them up from the house. So there are 3 locations usually we get them from: the county jail, the correction officers, or they call us from home and we pick them up directly. To answer, so let me go one step further. They if they want to leave or when their time is to leave, we Uber them back home, or we take them back home. We don't just say the door is open, you're done with your treatment. Even when they're done with the treatment, we still Uber them back home. So that's what we do now at the location we have.
How many locations do you?
So with inpatient, we have 2. Outpatient, we have 1.
Okay.
Because the outpatient is a lot bigger. Everyone who comes from inpatient, they have to live somewhere. So they stay with us for a longer period of time. But inpatient is 7 days detox, 30 days residential. And they normally stay through the whole thing, which is 37 days. And then we, if we ever decide to open up a sober living house, which it's like a halfway house, but it's very different because they can't leave when they want. They live there, and we pick them up to take them to groups, and we take them back home. We feed them, we house them, we do everything for them.
Some of the,
Do you have other facilities in northern Indiana?
I do not.
Is there when you researched it, why did you choose this location?
So the reason why we chose this location, it wasn't that we were looking for Columbia City. We try to find places outside major cities. And the reason for that is because in major cities, you'll always see 7, 8, 9, 10 different addiction centers. And what happens is people leave AMA. Means they're not happy with one place, they'll go to the next place. And they constantly just leave. And when people come to a city or a town or a village, we get 4 to 5 admissions a day because we're always located. People want to go away from where they live. They want to get help. If they're staying and getting treatment in the city that they live in, most likely are going to leave overnight. People are going to bring things, which never really happens when you're in this town, when you're like 20, 30 minutes away. People, when they want true help, they will leave where they live to find help. They don't want to be at home.
so as far as the facility, you not have to do much renovation inside or?
So if you look at our website, we build everything from ground up. We believe in turning every inpatient outpatient facility that we have like a Malibu facility, but for Medicaid, those who can't afford it. So if we would get the opportunity to get the Super 8 hotel, that would turn into a Hilton. Like we go all out, private rooms, memory foam mattresses, gyms, cooks, everything, to give everyone the opportunity, no matter their economical status, to get help. So that's what we offer, and that's why we're successful, because we do that in every location. If you look at our websites,
okay.
You know, it's what we pride ourselves in, and that's what we sell to the community.
Okay.
Not only that, in every community that we're in, we offer scholarships. For example, if someone doesn't have Medicaid, even, they have no insurance, and they live in Columbus City, we will take them for free, no payment, for the full treatment ride. That's what we offer. You know, it's all about giving back.
Pretty generous.
Yeah, it is. Well, I don't know. To me, it's like when I meet God one day, he'll ask me, what's my footprint on earth, right? Neil Armstrong did it on the moon. If I can do something small and save someone's life, I mean, this past year, we admitted over 1,200 people. And that's a lot.
What's your percentage that goes through the whole 37 days?
37 days, I would say roughly 78%, 80%.
And so it's a locked facility, and they can't leave until they have an Uber.
They have an Uber, and we have someone sitting with them, because they don't want to just leave. They want to get home, right? So they're willing to wait for a ride to take them home. They're not taking a bus. They have no money. So we have somebody there with them. So if our van service is not there to take them wherever they need to go, we pay for an Uber up to 3 hours away. So we spend it up like $300-400.
But they could just walk out if they
No,
chose.
the door's locked.
The door is locked.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
The door, yeah.
So to get to some of the things that, I'll just try and address what the mayor's trying to ask and we'll kind
I
of.
read the letter too, yeah.
Did you?
No, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
great.
I did, and so I'm sure there are a lot of concerns based on what the letter says, so I'll answer any
Yeah.
questions that you have.
So, one of the things we're looking at is dangerous, injurious, or noxious, right? So he kind of listed out concerns around handling, use of resources, police, and being called regularly or something. Any issues with people flushing,
Okay.
things down the toilet, like these different things. So seems like relevant concerns.
Right, so those three things, I don't know who the mayor spoke to. Handhandling, we never had. The EMS, of course, like every senior care center, if someone is detoxing and they are having a seizure, which is the most serious thing, I mean, we call them in. I mean, that's what we do, but that's no different than any senior care center if a woman falls or
Right.
there's a need for it.
Oh, that's different than police also, right?
Right, so no, so the police come with EMS. They always come together. For some reason, with these villages, they always come hand in hand. It doesn't matter what the reason is. When EMS is called, a sheriff, which is like a sheriff in these villages called sheriff, which is a regular police officer, they always come with EMS and they ride with them to the hospital. Why? It's just procedure. I don't know why they come together. Regarding, so handling, I answered. I never experienced that. I actually, after I got the letter, I made calls just to confirm because I never came to my attention. Needles, so when someone comes in inpatient, they come from a separate entrance or the main entrance and they go into a private room where they shower, we go through all their stuff, and we wash all their stuff. So they come out with scrubs. There's no needles. So how needles, again, I don't know who the mayor spoke to. I'm not, again, that's something that never happened with us. Needles go into the medical box, the medical waste box, but clients don't come in with needles. They go on top of that. Nothing sells news than bad news, right? Right. And if you look at our reviews, we've been open for over a year at some locations, 2 years. And our reviews, the worst review we have was one when a mother forced her child to come to us, and it's on there. You can read it, just go to the lowest 1 star. And we said, we can't take him, even though he's 21 years old. And she's like, why not? I said, because you're forcing him. We don't take people that don't want to come on their own. So she was very upset, and that was the 1 lowest star. And you'll see at the response, what we wrote, we don't take people against their will. But regarding that letter, so needles, all that, we don't have that. I mean.
So the people that are coming from the jail and the correction facilities, they've had a choice. Hey, you can do this or you can do this. And they would choose to come to.
Yes, not only that, the correction officers, the lawyers actually refer to the judge to send to us because our success rate is high, thank God. It works, and that's why we get calls all the time, and that's why we're expanding, because what we offer is real. It's not just an addiction center where it looks like a halfway house.
Mhm.
I mean, pictures don't lie, right? So, I mean, you're more than happy to come visit our place, but to do a walkthrough, but you'll see it, what it looks like.
So what, I guess outside of that, were you planning to do any more aesthetics outside the
No,
building?
so like painting so I drove by now, like 3 hours ago, I did a walkthrough to sort of see exactly what it needs. So it needs a full renovation. I mean, that place, it just unfortunately just fell apart inside. Outside, there'll be painting, like brick pointing, but no major construction or any of that. There's definitely a lot of like cosmetic work, like a new roof would have to be put on. They have right now like a metal roof that got rusted away, I believe. Something's going on there. Again, I'm not an inspector, but just with my plain view, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So we're gonna do mostly cosmetic, lighting, flooring, painting. No walls being moved. It's just remodeling the whole place.
And as far as the outside goes, like, are you planning on more landscaping or just?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, curb appeal. Yeah, yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
I kind of
Right.
took it that you would.
And does that include a space for the residents to get outside?
So we're not there yet. So I only passed by this. I think there's a side entrance that I might put a small little gate on the side. I think between the dumpster and the building, there might be a little patio over there, but that's where I would normally put like a picnic table, but that'll be gated in.
Okay.
We put the fence up. think it's 8 feet high.
I'm not worried about them being seen. I just think for me.
No, I do it.
People
No,
need to
I
be
mean,
outside.
no, they need to get out, right, absolutely. So that's what we always do.
Okay, so there will be that.
Yes. Yeah, but there won't be no door from that gate. It's just to
Right.
get
Right.
outside the.
get out of the gate. It's just gonna be a square gate.
So they can't wander off.
Right, absolutely not. And plus, when they're outside, there's always staff outside there with them. Another thing I saw there, they said that I wrote 100 max clients there. That's not overnight. I mean, it takes a good year or two. The 25 staff members, it's more like 50. Because just the nurses alone and the techs, the CNAs, that alone is like 15 to 20. Then you have case managers, social workers, clinical director, medical director, group facilitators. We're talking about a lot more than 25. And there's always 24-hour care there. It's not like people go home. It's always, I mean, we have a full staff
Around
with
the
3
clock,
shifts.
yeah.
Absolutely.
How many facilities do you have now?
So with this, we have 3. We're opening a 4th one in another state, but this is 3 right now. Correct.
With this one or
No, this is gonna be number 4.
excluding those? Okay, gotcha. And those are where?
Those are in Pennsylvania, Ohio.
Pennsylvania,
Where in
Ohio.
We're in near do you know where Fremont is? So we're like 8 minutes from Fremont and 1 in Cleveland. So people would travel from Cleveland to Fremont, that 45 minutes, because they don't want to be in Cleveland. So shocking to me, I thought, why travel 45 minutes? But they just don't want to be where they got hooked onto something. They'd rather be further out, and that's where they stay. So it's working for them. Not only that, we do separate male and female. We don't mix them. We find there's less drama and they heal more. Unfortunately, when a lot of women come to us with trauma from being at home or something going on, and that's why we separate them, and we find that the success rate actually grew when the male and female are separated, and they each heal separately. So we do offer that. And so we're living the units, apartments is also separated. We have 2 buildings, apartment buildings I buy, 1 for male, 1 for female. So that's what we offer.
So what will this be?
So that's inpatient, but be separated inside, like different floors, different
Gotcha.
sides. They don't mix.
So will there be enough parking spaces if we,
Yeah,
If
yeah,
we
because
close
25, yeah, so that's all, if you close that, I think if I'm just guessing here, I think you have like 35 to 40 parking spaces there alone. Yeah, that's more than enough.
okay, you had just mentioned 50. so-
Yeah, but I'm
So-
saying, but that's like a high number if you ever get there, but I don't think we'll ever get to that number, but our own clients don't come with cars. They don't drive them. Like I said, they're either at home, in jail, somewhere else, but they don't drive them.
So the parking lot's basically just for the workers, working.
Yes, employees.
So you mentioned that they're there on their own,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But you lock the doors to keep
So
them
we
in,
we
or-
lock the doors because unfortunately, we don't want people from the outside coming in.
Sure.
You know, what happens is we don't want anyone from the outside coming in, bringing stuff in they're not supposed to bring in. And that we take very seriously because if everyone there is trying to get help and one person can mess up with everyone. Even though they're in treatment, they're still vulnerable. So that's why we take the precaution by having 24-hour care, doors being locked. Again, they're not forced to stay. They want to leave, then they send a document that they're choosing to leave, and we call it Uber, and they go.
How far will they come from, just in general?
So we take them up to 3 hours away if they really want help. So from Indianapolis, people come from. It's like, so we get people, let's say in Fremont, we get them from like Columbus. They schlep all the way from Columbus. Now, if you go from Columbus to where Fremont is, you have like 25 other centers along the way at least. But they chose to come to us. And then they go home and they tell all their friends, whoever needs help, and then they call us to pick them up.
Does anybody else have any comments or questions for this gentleman? Thank you so much. Is there anyone else here wishing to speak on behalf of the petitioner? Does anyone here like to speak with questions or against the petitioner? Can you please come up to the podium and State your name and address, please.
My address is Nicole Anderson. It's 3088 South 500 West South Whitley, 46787.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So one of my questions was, do they have to sign a waiver when they come in? Like that they're gonna stay there for a period of time? No.
Because usually when they come, the mindset is to stay.
Okay.
There's no way to guarantee them. It's like to school saying you're not gonna leave, but they want to go home. So
Sure.
no waiver, and even if you did have one, don't enforce it.
Okay.
But usually people that want to come for treatment, their mind is made up that they need it,
Mhm.
and they usually stay.
I absolutely love this idea. Actually, my mom was an alcoholic for 12 years and she went to a facility and it was phenomenal. I am a local business owner nearby, so I have some, we have a work release that's down the road and we have people just walking down, and then, so I'm kind of sandwiched between this. So I'm just want to understand a little bit more about it.
It's a valid fear.
Yeah.
Answer as many questions as I can.
Thank you. What about, have you ever had a situation where somebody, you had that 1-star review? How is that handled when a family member or a friend brings a potential client in and the client realizes where they're at, and how is that handled?
I mean, if they don't want to stay.
Yes.
we will come back.
Like in the moment though, has it ever escalated or?
So, yes, it goes to the executive director, goes to counseling, they come in, they speak, out of fears. A lot of people feel like when they come in, so there are a few different reasons why people leave. One is because they feel like they lose their job, that most people understand. That, the other fear is if it's a woman, that the door is by the boyfriend's house and they feel so afraid that they might even be way too long, they might want to leave. But people normally who come in and want to leave right away, they are like at a point where they feel like, that this is their entire life. It's like, I'm here now, I don't feel change already. We explain
Sure.
the changes in a second. The moment that you walk through, it's not like you walk into Disneyland, it's
Yeah,
still
yeah,
solid. It takes a process.
Yeah.
So what we do is the first 7 days while you're detoxing, you have no communication with any
Right.
You focus on your self-healing, on yourself. You have no communication with anyone from the outside world. After that, the next 30 days, which is potential, you got 1 phone call a week or 1 video call.
Yeah.
And that's what we do, and that's what we offer now. If family members want to come visit, there has to be somebody in the room with them while the visiting information, nothing is being transferred.
Yeah.
But like you said, we're not, we're looking out for outcomes of the whole system. So
Yeah.
what is one mistake, and everything you built can just fall apart.
And that's how it was with my mom's too. You had all those things like that. But specifically, if, say, a family member brings someone, has it ever been escalated to like where you got to call the sheriff, you got to call the police because it's great madness happening? No. Okay. Well, that's encouraging. Let me see if I had anything else. What do you find that this will bring, like, for businesses to Columbia City? Jobs, okay. And maybe I'm speaking out of turn and I'm not knowledgeable enough, and maybe you've done your research. What is the difference between the Bowen Center and a facility like yours? Do you guys know?
Bowen Center would just be an outpatient.
So
They're not,
like a short term?
yes, they're not set up to keep anybody overnight or anything like that. It's just basically
So another thing is when I read the mayor's letter on Mission 25,
Yeah.
I went online to their website, it doesn't say what the mission is. I don't think they're a detox residential facility. I think they're more like housing or at least that's what the website says. Or housing for women and children who were addicted at some point.
it could be many, like more of abuse, separation or.
This is those who are on it, who I think right now, who are on something.
Yeah, this is
So
it, yeah.
what they do is, that's like the activity that we do in 8 months from now. This is the beginning here.
Sure.
Yeah, it's very, two totally different.
Housing
Okay.
and medical,
Okay.
here's the more housing.
Sure. Yeah, because you need the
I mean, so we have groups also.
Right.
Because hey, with that, like, let's should be five, so I went to the website, I'm like, it doesn't say anything about addiction, or, I mean, it does say addiction, but prior to.
I think it helps people, like even if they file bankruptcy, it gets them,
Like,
it relearns them how to like handle their own finances and gets them back on their feet.
That's why.
Yeah.
Maybe what limited, it's light emission 25, I never heard of that. So that's why I looked them up.
Yeah. Let me make sure I didn't have any other questions before I go sit down. No, I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here wishing to speak on the petition as far as questions or comments? Hearing none, I close the floor for board discussion. You guys got any comments for Nathan or us to talk about?
It's a rare, extremely rare, when the mayor says, I'd like to see you give them 30 days extension and meet on it next month, so he's got a chance to talk to him. In my time on this board, I don't believe that has ever happened before.
He sent letters before for comments, and I think
But not asking us to table it for 30 days.
yeah, but the questions that the questions that he has here basically are questions that have been answered, as far as I'm concerned, very well. I don't see any reason to, I mean, if you want to let the mayor run this board and we don't need to sit here.
Let's go back there under the conversation. I'm actually leaning towards Dennis's stance, just on this one, just from the standpoint that he,
I would make a motion to table it for 30 days to the July meeting.
Thank you for giving that piece of information that he's never requested that before, because that was.
No,
one of
mayor,
my-
I mean.
It was one of my
there's
thoughts about.
Several mayors. So.
Well, what's his, I don't understand, what in this letter is concerns that we don't make decisions on all this stuff, every board, every meeting we come to, there's either the same questions that come up from
Just
people,
out of
neighbors.
respect for the mayor's position, I don't think 30 days is gonna kill us.
What will it do for the, at this?
I don't know, you'd have to
I
ask him.
think that's fair.
yeah, let's hear
I think
your take on that.
3 days, we should decide. No question, I'm not being honest with you, because these things are fast. And it's on the market for a while now. Someone else might come in and might want to go buy it. So every day, anything can change.
Mhm.
Not just what we want, other things, it's real estate. I looked at it as an interest sensitive, someone else might look at it and now I have to sign or buy it without any. It's real estate, things move fast. And so.
How long has it been on the market?
I believe at least a half a year, but I can double check right now. And plus, I mean, we know how difficult, not difficult, but this individual doesn't understand how things work, so like, not easy getting here.
True.
I mean, I look at it as somebody's gonna take the building, they're gonna renovate it, make it worth something again. And not be a condemned building that just falls apart and nobody does anything with it, there it sits. Because obviously if nothing's going on for it with the 6 months, you know how buildings that sit for a long time. And they're gonna, I don't see anything in here that he hasn't answered more than adequate. That's just my take on it. So, I mean, there's been a motion made, so if there's a second, we can vote on it. It's up to you guys.
I'll second it. See what happens.
I'll chime in too for a second. In addition to my suggested conditions, you guys always are able to modify what I suggest or add your own or do whatever
Well,
you may want.
to that point, like, is there a way of even mentioning things like Betty's bringing? Because that's the only thing in here that goes against, point number 2 on this sheet matches up with, kind of what he's talked to us later. Is there mechanisms for us to put something in place with a money?
So to be more clear, that would be let's say the draw on the public resources, police, EMS, and so on. Is that what you're?
Yeah, or the flush and stuff and all that.
But I
Like,
guess-
I realize that he addressed that, right? And I don't like distrust him, but at the same point, like if I wanted to like say, I want to see it like renovated also, and I would like something to look better. So I'm all open to that, but
So I guess my feeling is it's a big building and any business that's going to come in of any kind of healthcare is going to have a higher need for police being there or
Sure.
the EMS. So I just think we have to make sure that we're not swinging to the complete opposite side and not considering that if something else goes in there, the need could also be.
So I guess when you say, when he's worried about flushing things down until that, I guess what comes to your mind, what they be flushing?
drugs could be, I doubt it. Maybe
I would think
don't
drugs
know.
more than anything would be the concern, right? Because it's getting in our water.
It's just something we have to deal with and I'm not saying.
It's the same stuff that can be
Sure, it
flushed down
happens
any
before.
any building along there, or school or anywhere else. I guess.
Anywhere else.
I mean,
There's a motion on the floor. Let's vote it out and then we'll hear another motion if we want to. Okay? How's that?
I have a motion from Dennis and a second from Tony. Yes, all in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed?
I think I'm gonna have
Well, that didn't pass.
And at this point, I'll remind you that the rules of procedure allow for 3 divided motions. We'll check and make sure before it's automatic.
Okay.
So
Fair enough.
So if we're divided, what is that next step?
if you can't take official action, which would be a 3-1 or 4-0 vote on something, after, I think it's 3 divided motions, so non-official actions, it's automatically continued.
Okay, so we could end up in the same place.
So you could.
We could.
So basically the hang up is just because the letter came from the mayor.
Pretty much.
And it's not that things didn't get satisfied on questions that the mayor had.
So I agree with you on the flushing and the public resources. And that would be the one scenario that we don't have a problem with that at all.
We don't, but how is it dealt with if we have? Because there have been people at Walmart before, but not for very long. So how do we deal with it in general?
The police.
My question, yeah.
There's an ordinance against panning.
Well, and if he's saying that they deliver people, because that was my concern when I read this, and that's why I had asked, is it a locked facility, and how do they exit? To me, that satisfies that bend
It does.
towards panhandling. And as much as I do want to respect that the mayor's requesting that, I guess I do lean towards, I feel like we've really looked at every one of the issues that he's stated here. I think that if there were in additional issues I would like to discuss that make me pause personally, that there was something I was missing.
I'll offer, just like we did last night at the Plan Commission, not just, but in a similar vein. Occasionally there are times that the Plan Commission has a tradition that XYZ, so last night it was landscaping, for example, is subject to approval by the community development director. So I don't know, maybe you could look at something like that, just replace community development director with mayor, something like that, if you really want to bring him in, if you feel like the land use component is satisfied, but maybe there are other issues that are worth him still talking directly with,
Petition.
still tied back to this approval somehow. Again, I'm not sure exactly what that looks like, but that might be possible.
So something that, and honestly, he just asked to talk to them. Would you be willing to talk to the mayor at some point?
I mean,
So kind of where,
Actually,
Yeah, so I sent her email about bringing that else. So just.
To talk to the mayor. Okay.
I saw the email.
Okay, so you've already set that in motion. Okay.
so I guess, I mean, we could do a conditional just on the,
within a timeframe.
within the time.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, he wants
So
to.
you would write that as one of the conditions.
Well, you guys need to give us some language, give us time frame.
Sure.
What is the outcome of it and stuff like that.
So would it be like, meeting will happen within 2 weeks and we give permission to go forward with these suggested conditions unless big red flag comes up? I don't know. Like, is that what you're saying?
Something along those lines, yeah.
Okay.
I would
Unless
suggest
the
2
mayor-
weeks, I would say maybe more like a month. Because I know the mayor's schedule is pretty tight. I don't want to put him under a gun necessarily,
But at the same time, he's the one requesting it.
Right.
And it's 30 days that he has to wait. So
Yeah,
I feel like there has to be some give and take there.
I would think he would grant his wishes fairly quick with meeting him. I would say.
Let's just make it a condition.
That's fine.
Somebody wants to propose it. I guess I can be swayed for as long as it's a condition.
Okay. So I'm gonna attempt to make a condition. You tell me if it sounds right. Okay, that we suggest that, actually, before we do that, on number 5, I would like to add actually the verbiage of the gravel parking areas will be removed and sodded in grass. So specific what needs to be done. So I would like to propose that that is added in it. And then,
Instead of sodded with grass, landscaped with some flowers and trees and stuff, I think would be more appropriate.
So I'm with you on that. However, one question we didn't ask. Are you open to selling that other lot if it's off, or,
I don't see reason why not.
I mean, is that something you plan to develop in the future?
Support.
Okay.
So I mean, that's never.
So then you don't want to, then you might not want to.
I mean, we can put this in here and just give it a time frame that, like, if he hasn't gone through with like actually dividing it out and making something new in that spot.
Yeah.
Well, it had to come from the planning board anyhow to split it.
Right, it
Yeah.
will, but like one way or the other, within the next, we'll give it a year or something. Is that
Yeah.
reasonable? I mean, I think that's what we gave.
1 year.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I need to start with the number.
Well,
No, just with the exceptions. that-
Okay.
Suggested conditions.
Add a suggestion that we approve it with the 6 plus Mayor Daniel meets with him and then, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. Josh, within the next 2 weeks. And as long as there's no glaring concerns, after that meeting, we will continue with that approval and he can begin to move forward on it. Offer, whatever.
that sound good to you? It's never
It would
good when
almost be, it's almost like you're putting secondary approval on the mayor.
Okay.
And that's kind of
I
a
mean, it's
concern.
a condition. Or is it contingency?
More of a contingency, giving him veto power.
That's, yeah, that would be,
I kind of have concerns about it,
Yeah, I
giving him veto
I don't
power.
think we need to give him veto power necessarily.
Okay. How do we say that?
But I think he could be persuasive if he needs to get his point across too, right? So,
Because he's actually, I mean, he's not against it by any means. He just had some questions to clarify for
I think
himself.
he'd be okay just since he has a meeting with the mayor to answer his questions, but, you know, the approval's on you. You know, you're the one
I agree.
who are charged with either approving or not approving. Okay.
so being a condition, then if that meeting doesn't happen or if questions aren't addressed, then the condition is not satisfied.
But he'd
But-
have to come back here.
But it wouldn't be that the mayor has ultimate, again, contingent
So-
authority.
Can we? Let me think a minute. Could we say in the next 2 weeks, meet with the mayor and then we hold a special meeting after that to approve it and not have to wait 30 days?
That is completely up to the four of you.
I leave the country on the 21st. I guess I struggle
I
a
feel
little bit if
confident.
that's necessary.
I would say conditional on meeting with the mayor.
I do, but I would say within 2 weeks, because then his hands aren't tied for a month.
Yeah.
To make an offer.
Yeah, for sure.
That if he wants to continue that.
So today's.
I mean, I feel confident that he's gonna more than satisfy the mayor's questions. So, I mean, yes, have him meet with the mayor, but go ahead and,
We're approving with that condition that he's gonna do something. That's it.
Are you questioning the time frame?
Or at least that's
No.
the proposal.
all right, you have a motion.
I screwed up the rules like 3 times. I'm gonna have somebody else. do it.
I'll try. I'll motion for approval of the special exception with the 6 suggested conditions, with number 5 being adding trees and or flowers and to that area within the next year. And then 7 being the petitioner meeting with the mayor within the next 2 weeks to discuss
Concerns.
his concerns. Yes.
I second that.
Motion from Tony and a second from Stacey. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? You have 3 to 1. Motion passed. We have a meeting with the mayor. Good luck.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Well, I don't know about that. This-
Ours is.
We certainly don't have that.
Thank you. Nathan, we have any other business tonight?
No, Dennis asked about the training session, so that's at the end of July. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
Stuff with.
You had something about Stacey said something about she wasn't gonna be here.
That would have mattered if it was continued, because just
Okay.
like Cathy's not
Okay.
here
Okay,
with a 4-0 vote, we would
Okay.
still have 4
Okay.
members.
okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.